Why, hello everybody, and welcome to Prop Live, your weekly prop and costume making Q&A session. And we have a guest in the shop today. Yay!
Hey everybody.
This is Eric from Coregeek Props. He's been a regular guest and local. He didn't fly here from somewhere. He just drove from right up the street.
Yeah.
Up the street, 405.
Yeah. Drove down the parking lot.
Yeah.
Although today it wasn't too bad.
That's good. That's good.
It was totally rainy at my house, but sunny down here. So.
Oh, that's because everyone knows Tukwila is like getting all the beacon of hope.
You were getting all the good weather today, man.
It was nice.
I even texted my wife and rubbed it in.
Yeah.
It's like, man, it's so sunny. I need sunglasses.
That doesn't happen down here in Seattle too often.
No.
Hey everyone, welcome to the live show, our Q&A live show. We've got a bunch of questions that we've collected, your guys' technique questions. We'll be answering those in just a little bit. In fact, if you are if you're thinking you want to send us your prop and costume making Q&A questions, we've changed it up a little bit. We're not doing the Q&A app anymore. We've got a form on our website at punishprops.com/live. Not only is all the information about this show over there, but there's a form where you can submit your questions. So send them in early and often, and we will collect them during the week and answer them during this show. But first, Eric, what have you been up to?
So I actually have some projects going right now.
Yes, you do.
Just started that, which is an Immortant Joe mask for.
And it's gone.
Hello. Emerald City's coming up in a couple months. That's the big one for my family. So this one's actually for my youngest daughter.
You're going to do Immortant Jane?
Yeah. She's going to be a 5-foot Immortant Jane.
That sounds pretty great.
Yeah, well, that's how we choose costumes. We sit around and go, hey, what would be the silliest or funniest thing? And she's like, hey, I want to be Immortant Jane. So we're like, okay. So we'll do actually a gender bent for the whole swap. So
that sounds pretty good.
I'm going to be doing Furiosa myself. And,
nice.
Yeah. So I have that whole arm to build too. So that'll
cool.
I'll be posting stuff about that soon too.
That's exciting. So that looks like you're making it mostly out of foam, which I approve of.
Yeah. I don't know if I've seen anybody make one out of foam yet, so I thought I'd give it a try. So and I thought I wanted to give the black Worbla a try. So I thought maybe the teeth would go well on the teeth. So far it's working out.
Yeah, I really like the texture, the grooves and stuff on the teeth there.
Yeah.
Looking great. Cool. There we are again. And by the way, hello everyone in the chat. I see our buddy Jackie Craft in there, Avatar, Phoenix Revival, bunch of other guys over there in our chat. Again, over at punishprops.com/live for the chat information. You guys are great. Shout
out to Cruiser Cosplay too. He's a local guy that does some pretty cool stuff.
Awesome. Is he in the chat?
Yeah.
There it is. Cool.
You've been witnessed.
Yes. Cool. Now you have another thing you're working on too, and why? I love how Facebook just brings the chat up.
It just gives you everything you don't want. Yeah.
Just please broadcast my friends list.
So last year I started a giveaway because I hit 5,000 likes on Facebook, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Still can't believe 5,000 people actually took the time to do that. But
I believe it.
Yeah. So I just wanted to give something away. So I was doing a fully complete set of the Tariel daggers.
Those are
based on the mold that I made that you helped me reference. So
super cool.
I had to put it on hiatus at the end of the year because I had some health issues, but it's back up and the drawing will happen on Saturday.
Perfect. That's in just 2 days.
Yeah.
So everyone watching, go over to coregeek.net/giveaway and join in on the giveaway.
And I actually plan to do the drawing live stream Saturday morning. So.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So hopefully it'll.
Look up Coregeek Cosplay and Creations on Facebook so you'll get updates when that happens and join the giveaway.
Yep, if the live stream works. I tested it the other day. I finally got it working. So
I'll tell you what I want to do is trade you something for a kit of those daggers.
Yeah.
Because I've been playing. Can you hand me the thing over there? That guy. Yeah. Because I've been playing with these finishes for the Ray Blaster, and I think some of these lacquers would be really great on that dagger. Yeah. So we may have to do a little bit of a trade.
Well, in fact, I actually have been working on finishing one of my Sith swords too, just for myself to hang on my wall because I moved rooms, so I have like a wall of a wall of props now.
Yes.
It's on there, so it's down a ways.
Somewhere.
But my Sif sword wasn't finished, so I started finishing that. And
cool.
I used a chrome on that I liked, and I was thinking, those Terry daggers would look pretty cool in chrome as well. So
yes, for sure.
Anyway,
yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I've made that I don't have a copy of.
Yeah.
So I think next month I'm going to do an Elder Scroll.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
I have the molds for that, and I made one.
Yeah.
Ever, and I don't have one. Oh, an Elder Scroll is a perfect thing to put up on the wall.
Yeah, very much. That'll be cool. That's a great build too.
So I'm looking forward to that.
I love the way that turned out for you.
That was one of my goals this year. Was I've got a bunch of kits from friends that I haven't finished, and already I'm making deals to get more.
Yeah.
And I've got kits of my own that I haven't finished. I've got that District 9 rifle.
Yeah.
I have most of it cast back there. And I haven't finished it yet. So I have a goal. Every month this year, you guys can hold me to it. I'm going to finish a kit. I did the Reaper mask last month, or this month.
Oh, yeah.
From
Jordan.
From Jordan.
Yeah.
And next month, it's going to be one of mine, which will be the Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, I actually think you mentioned that somewhere else. I don't know if it was one of your videos or something, or maybe it was on the live chat. So it's like, you know what? I think I should do the same thing. That's why I dug out the space gun and started working on that too.
Yeah. So another thing that Eric's been working on, he's one of the proud supporters of my Kickstarter, which was quite a while ago. And you're going all sorts of modification on it. Please close my chat.
Go away.
Yeah, and this is cool. I love seeing people running with my design, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, I liked the size of it. It kind of reminded me of like an MP5 or something like that. So you can't see it in the picture, but I actually made a removable stock that goes on the rear. And
oh, cool. Does it attach right with the mag up there?
It's just a peg, so it
right
there on the flat part of the back.
Cool.
But there's another canister that comes off of the mag. So
neat.
And then that one's the one off the mag is going to be filled with like a green or blue fluid or something.
Ooh.
So the whole idea is kind of like a mini plasma rifle kind of thing. So
I like it.
And since it's white, I guess I'll just paint it all grungy because I haven't done white before. So it was kind of like, let's try this and see how it goes. So
yes, indeed. All right, cool. Let's just about ready to go grab some of your guys' questions. I want to mention two things before we get started. First is we've started streaming on Twitch, and we're going to be doing this once a week. Excuse me. And it's loading, so I'm stalling. Twitch.tv/punishedprops is where we're doing that. And there it goes. We did one on Tuesday. We're probably going to do them on most Tuesdays during the middle of the day, give you guys a little bit more of a chance to catch some of our live stuff. And this is going to be from the shop type thing. So we'll be working in here, working on projects, chatting with you guys, a little more informal than the Q&A show. So head on over to twitch.tv/punishedprops and give us a follow over there. You can be notified for when we go live. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be really fun. And the reason why we can do the additional live streams is because of our wonderful patrons. You guys help fund all of the video stuff that we do, including this show, and I couldn't thank you enough. So I'm going to thank you now. But if anyone else wants to go give us a hand, then patreon.com/punishedprops is the place for it. You guys are awesome for helping us out, and I'm excited to bring more content to you. And that's it. I am ready for some questions. How about you?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. Let's close that. My poor little computer's yelling at me. It's getting a little warm with all those windows open. Cool. Here we go. First one comes from Baba Louie. He says that he's loving the Immortan Joe work. So am I. And he says, what are your likes and dislikes of the Black Worbla and EVA foam combo? What do you think about that? Because I actually have some Black Worbla I haven't played with yet.
So I don't have like an all-inclusive view of it yet because literally the only thing I've done with it is make those teeth.
Yeah.
But one of the things I kept reading about it was it was really great for sculpting, mashing together and I've done that quite a bit with the regular Worbla, and I can compare it for that and then say, yeah, it definitely is for if you're gonna like sculpt with it.
Yeah.
Great. It's a lot smoother.
Cool.
It seems to melt quicker. So it's been great for that, but I haven't used it for any large pieces yet or anything. So,
Right.
but so far I'm a thumbs up with that. So, and
Cool.
it holds detail better too because it has less grain.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Neat. He's wondering if he thinks it will rub off on me. Maybe. I mean, I have some I have to play with, but I mean, I'm pretty committed to the foam thing.
Yeah, and actually, that's like the first time I take it back. I did make a crown out of Worbla last year, but ever since you talked me into starting to use foam, I've pretty much just like I make everything out of foam. So
speaking
of it went the other way.
Yeah. I have this is what I've been working on. In fact, our video is up for working on this in the shop last Tuesday. This is the Jade Rabbit, and this is all foam. I'll just put it in front of my guest's face.
No problem. Here, let me model it for you.
There you
go. It's as beautiful as you think it is.
And this thing is for the new book that we're finishing up right now that will be out soon. So people are excited for the new book. They keep asking me when it's going to be out. All I can say is soon. We still have to work out how we're going to get it printed. But, oh, yeah, magnetic. Yeah. Oh, I love magnets.
You got to love that.
I like how it makes the rabbit like a Canadian in South Park, too. He can talk. He can talk like...
Oh, yeah, totally.
There you go. So that was my latest foam adventure. Let's see here. Baba Louie also says, what other material would you use on foam props that works really well with it? I like latex to seal my foam. That's my personal favorite. In fact, that'll be in the book as well. I just polished up my chapter on latex. But you like your epoxy.
Yeah, I use Epsilon on props quite a bit.
Yes.
I don't necessarily recommend it for armor.
Right.
But for three-dimensional props, because everything has the same tension. I really like it for that, and mostly that's because I can sand it.
Yep.
And kind of one of my fortes is sanding.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
I did a lot of sanding on this guy actually. On the Jade Rabbit. It's not sealed with anything except for a bunch of coats of Krylon Fusion spray paint.
Yeah.
And then lots of sanding.
Yeah.
Although I was considering wet sanding it.
You didn't wet sand?
No.
Oh, really?
I
thought you did. It looks pretty good for not being wet.
I did a lot of sanding on it, but I considered wet sanding some of it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, nah, it's a
well, I'd be interested to see what it would look like anyway, because wet sanding, if you don't have like a super smooth, you start to get those little pits a little bit, you know. So, but yeah, I actually thought it was wet sanded, so it must have turned out okay.
Yeah, it did. And then I hit it all with like the clear Krylon Fusion to seal it, and that worked out.
Is that what's flat?
No, it's not really. What's kind of cool is that the bluer stuff here came out with a gloss, and this stuff was more of a satin.
Yeah.
And the clear didn't really have too much of an impact on them, so there's a little bit of a difference. Although
I can kind of see it a little bit.
But
yeah.
There's that. All right, cool. Thank you, Baba Louie. Next one is Fuzzy Wuzzy. How do you deal with copyright issues when making and selling replica props for movies? Have you had any copyright issues?
I haven't, and the two things that I sell could both potentially be issues.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because Weta does sell those daggers, which Brittany bought. We have them.
I know, and we compared them the last time I was here, and it was like they're pretty spot on. So, and the thing is we both know people that work at Weta.
Yep.
And I know that they've seen my work there.
Yeah.
So maybe they're just not aware that they're being sold, but
or they don't care.
So basically how I deal with it is I ignore it.
Yeah. But you're also not counting on that income to make a living.
No, I'm not. Exactly. And I will say, like, for like my Etsy shop, I sell one, and then that one gets sold, and then I post a new one.
Yeah.
I don't have like 20 available or something. So it's just little things like that, just to make sure that. And I think it's kind of like one of those things that if you're just doing small amounts, I don't think people seem to care. Unless you're Disney, and then that's a whole other story.
The great way to deal with it is never make anything that's owned by Disney.
Yeah, that includes Star Wars now.
An example actually for the Raised Blaster. I'm still working on this project, and this is for me. This is a project I'm building for myself, and I'm building. It's not a commission or anything. And I'm going to make a video on how I did that. And we're using this as an example for some of our mold making videos. But I'm making one of these for myself. I'll have a mold, and I might make a couple more, but I'm like to put this in my store
Yeah.
is just inviting Disney to just kick me in the teeth.
Oh yeah, and they will.
Yeah.
And they will.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
we both know people that have gotten cease and desist before they even had their stuff done.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, by the way, you're making a Star-Lord helmet.
Yeah.
I realize it's not finished yet, but
hey,
don't try to sell that.
Don't post anything about that.
Hey Patch in the chat says he's invented a drinking game, and whenever I mention a smooth-on product, they have to drink. That's bad news, guys. Don't try it.
Hey, they make great stuff, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes, they do. In fact, if I pointed the camera right over there, it would mostly be dominated by blue and yellow.
It's the wall of smooth on. The wall of smooth on.
In a nutshell, though, when you're making stuff, anything that is a replica of something that another company owns the intellectual property of, right? So if you're making a costume or a prop from your favorite video game or movie, realize that they do own the copyright on that design.
Absolutely.
And if you want to profit from that, if you're going to sell it and profit from that, they have the option, and it's well within their rights, and they should protect their intellectual property. That's how it works. That's how the legal copyright thing, it's why it exists, so that they can protect something they created. That gives them the ability to make income from it. So you are infringing on that if you are selling that. Not if you're making it, but if you're selling copies of that, especially if you're selling many copies of that. So go into it knowing that if you're going to try and sell kits or props of something in a movie, that they may come and tell you to stop. Most of the time, that's all that's going to happen. They'll send you a cease and desist, which is to say, cut it out, please don't sell this anymore.
Yeah, and that's just kind of a warning shot.
Yeah,
it's like it's not.
And you should heed that warning. Yeah. Stop selling it. Don't be like, oh, I'm totally not selling it anymore, and then keep selling them on the that's a bad news all around, because then they can actually sue you. So just know that when you're going in there, and some companies are cool with it and some companies aren't, but they are within their legal right to do so.
It also seems to me like gaming companies seem to be a little more open to it too.
They do. Yeah, they do seem,
compared to like movie companies.
But then ZeniMax tends to be a little more litigious.
Yeah.
Square Enix, very litigious.
Yeah, that's true.
So just keep all that in mind if you're going to try and sell stuff. I have not had any problems with that.
Yeah.
All the Mass Effect stuff I did, they didn't bug me about that.
They seem really lax.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Fuzzy Wuzzy. Let's see. The next one here comes from Sarah. When working on oversized props, do you find it easier to work with insulation foam or EVA foam? Now, you've done a couple of those.
I hate oversized props.
You do?
They're just so cumbersome.
Yeah.
That stupid Fierce Deity Link sword, the Helix one that I made, I broke that thing like 5 times from whacking it on the ceiling and stuff. It's just like I've repainted that thing 6 times. So I generally will go with insulation foam depending on the project. So I like the way, and mostly that's because I can do insulation foam in one piece. You know, so like if it's a big rifle, like the rifle I made for Alicia this last year, the Big Nova Master Rifle, which is like 5 feet long. You know, the majority of that was like 3.5 feet long, and it was just easier to make it out of one big piece, than pile a bunch of EVA together and all that. But I'm pretty comfortable with working with insulation foam too. So I think
you work really fast with it too.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone can, not just you.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were complimenting me.
But what I'm saying is not like wood where you spend a lot of time sanding and refining it with the insulation.
Yeah, and one of the properties I like about it, especially compared to EVA, is that it sands so easy.
Yes, it does.
I mean, you can literally shape it with sandpaper.
Yes. In fact, do you follow Andrew Cook?
Yes.
Andrew DFT?
Yeah.
He does almost, I think, exclusively insulation foam props.
Yeah.
We'll have to put a link in the show notes, but he just did a 3-part series on a Magnum pistol from Halo.
Yeah.
That goes through his entire process. That's worth checking out.
Yeah, his stuff is pretty incredible too.
Yeah.
The detail he gets with his work is
have you seen the one I have upstairs of his?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Every once in a while he'll sell some. So he sold a couple of things.
Yeah, he does like a lottery.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Cool. Well, there you go. I'll tell you, I like EVA foam just because I wrote a book about it. But I did that giant axe from Diablo out of EVA foam, and I coated it in latex,
Yeah,
and it's indestructible.
yeah.
You can bend it in half. In fact, when I was at BlizzCon, I was like spinning around and like it came apart and like flew across the parking lot. Totally fine.
Nothing
So
bad with
I
it.
like the durability of the EVA.
Yeah, I would say that there are trade-offs between both.
Yes,
definitely.
so
And EVA is definitely more durable, and it doesn't require any kind of special finish to have it ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
You can, I mean, like this. We went straight to paint on this. So yeah.
Let's see here. That was Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. Next question comes from our pal Sam over at Bio Cosplay. Sam was live streaming earlier this week too. I popped in on that. Let's see. How much does taking pictures, filming, and writing your book slow down production of making a prop? For example, how long do you think it would have taken you to build the Jade Rabbit if you had not been using it for your next Foamsmith book? I could have probably knocked most of this out in like 3 or 4 days instead of like the last month.
Yeah. It slows everything down.
But that's more of a factor of just I usually can't sit down and just focus on one project for like days.
Exclusively for days.
Right.
Yeah.
But I will say for this book in particular, I've shot over 600 photos. And for a lot of the steps and things, I use them as examples for videos. So it at least doubles the time it takes me to build something. Sometimes more, depending.
Yeah, and I would say just because I generally, if I'm building something, I just take progress pictures.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the idea is that later I'll do a write-up, but I'm like 6 write-ups behind. So I've kind of just, but even just doing that, even just taking time to take a picture every like half an hour or something, it's just, it kind of throws you out of your, like when I'm working, I'm kind of like in this zone, and then you have to like stop and think, okay, oh yeah, take a picture, you know, and even that, just if you do that, you know, 20 times a day, I mean, it slows you down. So so doing a book, that's a lot of work.
The Jade Rabbit in particular probably took me 3 or 4 times longer than normal.
Yeah.
Because I absolutely can't skip a step.
Yeah.
As far as taking photos of it. And I have in books in the past.
And if you miss a step.
And if you miss a step, you can't undo it. You have to fix it in Photoshop later, which I've done.
So
see if you can find it in
did you have to chart out your steps at all, so you know that, or have you just been able to just kind of remind yourself?
I'm just meticulous about I cut a thing, take a picture, cut a thing, take a picture. And then with the gun, it's got 2 sides, so usually I'll do one side of a piece, and then I'll take a photo. It was practice, and then I'll take a photo of the second side.
Second side's better.
Yeah, yes, that's exactly what I do. But for that one, like I cannot skip a step because it's for the book. I can't go back and take those photos again, so I'm just meticulous about it, and it adds an awful lot of time to the build.
Yep.
And then video is a whole other beast.
Video,
it's a monster.
I every build I've done, I've set out to take videos while I'm doing it, and I take like 2, and then it's just the rest of it I just forget. Yeah, you know, it's just like screw this.
And when you guys watch my videos too, there will be like a chunk like a minute long of me just talking. Yeah. Like, and then I did this and this. And what you mean to realize is like, I forgot to take footage of all that. I'm pretty good at that, but every once in a while, like I'll get in the zone and I'll finish a whole piece and I'm like, great.
You're like, dang it.
Damn it.
Shoot. I was supposed to take video of that.
Okay. Thank you, Sam. What's Sam? Sam was working on a new costume. I can't remember which one.
Yeah. Sam's a heck of a builder.
Yeah, I can't remember. Stefan has a question for us.
I can't remember which one he's doing.
In the very, very early stages of building a pole arm for a friend's costume, and the axe head has a really thin joint between the haft and the head. If I was to use EVA foam, how can I strengthen it enough on the thinner part so that the axe head doesn't blow in the wind? This sounds. Did you see the axe that Evil Ted made a while back in the video? Yeah,
I did.
Sounds like that's exactly how you want to do it. Do you recall how you?
I don't.
Okay. Well,
I don't.
I watched the video like 3 times
because you made an axe.
Because I made an axe at exactly the same time as him.
Exactly.
He put wire in the axe head, and we'll link to that video in the show notes. But look up if you just want to look up Evil Ted foam axe, you'll find it. Sam was working on his Magneto.
For that's what it is, Magneto. Yeah. I just saw pictures of it last night, I think.
Anyway, he made the axe out of 2 layers of EVA foam, and in between those layers, he carved out a little trench, and put in a wire that attached to the handle, which was
yeah, I remember that now,
like a PVC pipe or something. But that way there's structure inside the foam.
Yeah.
For the giant axe I made for BlizzCon, I did not support the inside at all. But it's massive. Like the parts that connect the blade are like, there's 2 of them, and they're like that thick each, and it's 2 layers of floor mat foam, so it's plenty durable. It's not going to flop around. Yeah, so there you go, Stefan. Go check out Evil Ted's video. We'll link to it in the show notes. All right. Mike has a question for us. He also has the phonetic spelling of his last name, like pulse in your wrist and camp with a tent. Pulse camp. Very good. Thank you, Mike. I'm looking for more info on thinning acrylics for airbrushing. Do you have any episodes detailing with that in detail? Do you do airbrushing much?
Yeah, I've actually been doing more airbrushing than rattle cans lately. Mostly because I just like the paints more.
Yep.
They're less stinky to deal with. Yes. I can do it in my house.
And you use mostly acrylics then?
Yeah, mostly acrylics.
Because you get acrylics, get a fan, make sure you're not, don't huff it, but it's it doesn't have an accelerator.
I mean, I still wear a respirator, but it's just, I've been using them quite a bit more. In fact, most of the Tariel daggers I've been finishing have been airbrush. So,
so what do you use to thin your acrylics then? Because you can get airbrush ready acrylics too.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say most of my acrylics, the majority of the acrylics I've been using are Wicked Colors.
Yeah, the Createx.
And they actually sell a medium, like a blank medium, that you can use and put in there to thin them if you need to. But most of them, they're good once you open it for the first time. It's good for at least 6 months or so before it starts to kind of thicken up. So, but if I need to, I'll just use that. I'm sure all the companies are very similar, but they'll have like a medium that they recommend for each type of, and then you just match that with the type of paint you have, and then you're giving it the right thing to thin it out with.
There you go. If you go to createxcolors.com and look up their airbrush colors, they have all these wonderful colors. These are transparent, iridescent, normal opaque colors. Here are all the additive mediums you were talking about.
Yep.
Createx makes some really great stuff. Actually, the gray part on this, I couldn't find a rattle can that I liked.
Yeah.
So I based the whole thing in black rattle can, and then I mixed up some Createx black and white to get that gray, and I airbrushed that on.
Yep.
Transparent base and opaque base. Lots of really good stuff from Createx.
I try to use arty based colors because I've had a few times where I've mixed colors and ran out.
And then you don't know how to get it again.
That really sucks to try to match it back.
I'm the same way. I'm really bad at color matching. The gray on this, I have lots left over. I didn't want to run out. So I
always over make it if you have to mix your own. But
and then with that guy, I just thinned it with water. I've had those paints for a long time, so they were a little chunky. So I just put a little bit of distilled water, mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, water for acrylics is fine. So
but I got to tell you, I'm a huge fan. I've been watching my buddy Frank Ippolito does a lot of airbrushing.
Yeah.
Having a little jar, especially if it's like these little squeezy bottles.
Yeah.
You just pop the cap on it and squeeze a little bit straight into the gravity-fed airbrush. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. No mixing. Like this color looks good. I'm just going to use that.
Yeah. But the only thing I like about airbrushing is that, I'm kind of diligent about cleaning tools and stuff. So it's like, I probably over clean the airbrush every time I use it, but but it's like the time to do that there's definitely a trade-off compared to compared to rattle cans. So
I'm going to be getting an ultrasonic cleaner.
Nice.
My airbrush is a mess.
So what you're saying is you weren't diligent in cleaning.
No. In fact, when I was at Frank's shop, I definitely left his favorite airbrush full of paint, and I got an earful for that.
And how expensive of an airbrush was that?
It's fine. I mean, it was acrylic paint. Like you can clean it out and everything. It's just
he's probably got some pretty nice airbrushes, I'm sure.
They're all normal airbrushes. Awada.
Yeah.
But some of those fancy. Some of them are not
$300 or $400.
Yeah.
I just use like a $100 Awada.
Yeah, that's what I use. Thank you, Mike, for the question. That was a really good one. definitely, if anyone's looking to up their game, especially when it comes to finishing, get an airbrush. Try it out.
I highly recommend it. The Angelus paints that you use, are those acrylic?
Yes, they are.
And you can brush those?
You can airbrush them. You do have to thin them.
Oh, okay.
They are generally pretty thick.
Are they made? They're made for brush.
Yeah, for brushing on leather. Although I use my critter sprayer.
Yeah.
Like you can put pudding through that.
Got like a nozzle like that. I know.
But I put my Angelus paints in there.
Yeah.
I just the critter has a mason jar. I just put the entire bottle of Angelus paint in there and then drop the tube in and just spray from that. And it's like painting with a shotgun. It'll work. All right. Next question. This one comes from Terry. Does the top metallic layer of cold cast pieces wear over time? I usually don't seal or varnish cold cast pieces because it will ruin the effect. But I'm concerned that repeated wear on a piece. Have you ever done any cold casting?
I haven't.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Every time I've only cast like 2 things, but I'm like, that's my goal. But then my mold's like, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, good enough to.
But for cold casting,
for paint copies,
but not
good enough
after,
for cold casting. You know.
So with cold casting, you have a thin layer of actual metal powder on the outside of your piece. Any like precious metal, I guess, like brass or silver or nickel, any of those things, when they're exposed to anything that will oxidize them, including salt in the air, they will tarnish over time. So all you got to do then is you can just polish them up again.
Yeah.
So when you pop it out of the mold, it looks like plastic, but you give it a bit of a buff with steel wool and then like some metal polish. And that brings out a real metallic shine that will tarnish over time. Yep. And if it does, just buff it again, just like any other metal doodad in your house. So and
it looks great too.
And that's the other thing too, is like you buff the high spots, they look shiny. The low spots have like accumulated grime and everything. It looks super duper legit. But yeah, I don't clear coat cold cast things either because it looks so much better with just bare metal.
Yeah, and clear coating metallics is always a crapshoot.
Yeah, although I will say the Aqua, we'll put a link to it in the show notes. The Aqua gloss that went on here actually looks pretty good. It's a glossy finish, but that looks super chromed and shiny on top of there.
It doesn't look dull like
So that's how I'm going to be finishing
a lot of clear coats do on metallics.
Yeah. So Aqua Gloss by
Alclad.
Alclad. There we go. Terry also wants to know, he's making 2 similarly shaped props that he plans on matrix molding. Can I make one fiberglass shell and reuse it for both molds? You sure can. If the prop is the same size and the fiberglass jacket will fit over it, you could totally close it, pour the silicone on one of them, and then pop that jacket off, close it over the other one, pour silicone on that one. You could totally do that. It's got to be, you would want to give yourself some extra room in case there's any areas that might touch down. But I bet you could totally do that. Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
Matrix molding is like, I love it. I want to do it more. It is a, boy, there's an art to it. There's a process to it.
I still haven't quite wrapped my mind around it yet.
Every once in a while, like a guilty pleasure of mine is I'll go look up just molds on Google image search.
Say, have you?
Yeah, let's do this right now. Like, mold. What if I look at mold porn? I wonder what I'm gonna find if I.
No, don't do it.
I'm not gonna.
You know what though is a great
share that.
You know what is a great
thing
to do though. I was looking.
Oh, these are mold infestations. That's not what I want.
Hashtags like on Instagram.
That's just pornography.
Oh
right.
yeah,
we're not gonna share that. All right.
Some people like it.
Complex matrix molds. How about I Google image search that, and then we'll share that with our.
So yeah, I was digging through the hashtags on Instagram.
That's safe. I'll share.
And if you like this kind of stuff,
look at that. No, look at this.
Yeah,
this is a massive arm.
There's some amazing stuff.
You got to plan out all these levels and everything.
Yeah,
it's so cool. This is a hand. It's like Mickey Mouse's giant hand or something. Yeah, there's something really, really satisfying about planning and executing a mold like that. And the people that do it, like Frank, are just wizards.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah, I mean, most of the people that like myself included, who do this prop making stuff are hobbyists, or at least even really really good hobbyists. But like, you have a varied skill set to be able to take a prop from start to finish, right?
Yeah.
When in the industry, there's
one thing.
The mold making guy makes the mold.
Yeah.
Because he makes things like that.
Another guy I follow on Instagram is he's one of the mold makers at Ardman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they do the stop motion Wallace and Gromit and Shaun the Sheep and all those guys.
Do you know what his Instagram name is?
I would have to find it.
All right.
So, but it's interesting to follow his work because they're always making multiples of things because they need them for the production of the stop motion animation, but everything's tiny. So it's like all these really tiny complex molds and stuff.
Yeah. In fact, you guys got to go see this stuff that Frank did for Star Wars.
Oh yeah. That was amazing. I watched that.
Yeah.
I'll find the guy, the Ardman guy.
Cool. I'm going to grab the next question. That one came from Terry. Thank you.
I'll find him after we can have a link.
We'll throw it in a link in the show notes. So. Sean from Fancy Clad Props says, I have a project coming up that will require a part that has a long cavity through it. I know normally rotocasting would be a go-to method for hollow parts, but this cavity will have a specific dimension. Imagine a 6-inch cylinder with a square hole running through it. What would be the best way to mold this? That's tricky because if you have a long piece of silicone, it's got to be supported somehow to keep that cavity empty. You might have to cast it solid or rotocast it and then build a tube out of Sintra or something and put that into your prop and then fill the outside.
Fill the rest of it.
Yeah, backfill the rest of it. You're probably going to have to do it that way if it's or fill it, cast it solid, and drill a hole, which sounds like a nightmare.
But you can't drill a square hole. So.
You can drill a square hole.
You can drill a square hole.
Look, you want to take a glimpse into my life, right? Go to YouTube, look up how to drill a square hole, and then just every video that pops up after it, just hit next and next and next. And then that's how I spend my evening, watching machining videos.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm talking about, just
how to drill
in his garage.
How to drill a triangular hole.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I'll have to check all that out. By the way, it's Fancy Lad Props.
Fancy Lad.
Yeah.
Fancy Lad. That's cool.
He's
over, I said Fancy Clad.
He's over in the UK.
Oh, well, then he is a Fancy Lad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. The mold will just be a normal slush cast mold, and then you're going to have to put an insert into it. That is the dimensions of your tube, and then just cast around it. Backfill it. You can even backfill it with like expanding urethane foam or something, depending on how secure it needs to be. Good luck. That doesn't sound like fun.
You forgot but tell me how it goes.
Yeah, tell me. Yeah, you try it. Let me know how it goes.
You try it and then tell us.
Large says LARG. I'm guessing that's large. How do you manage air bubbles in floor mats? I've tried quick seal like Evil Ted does, but I would prefer to try other methods. I try and get floor mats that don't have air bubbles in them. The Harbor Freight mats are super duper cheap, but they tend to have that.
I hate Harbor Freight floor mats.
I have this stuff here. Let's do a little compare and contrast. And look what I have a bunch of foam right here.
Look at that.
This is I don't know where I got this floor mat, but you can see there's like a little dot right there. This is a pretty good.
That was not too. Yeah, it's pretty clean.
But there's some pock marks on it.
It's got a couple big ones.
Some little pock marks on it. WeSellMats.com is where if I'm going to get floor mats, I prefer to get them there. They tend to have less bubbles and have a more consistent thickness, which I like. But then this is EVA foam from TNT Cosplay Supply. It's a nice thickness. It has, as far as I can tell, 0 bubbles in it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have a texture on either side, and it comes in a really big sheet.
TNT foam's great. I've been using it for about 6 months. That's what I've been using on the Immortan Joe stuff. So
yeah, and they do have their 10 millimeter foam now. I saw, which is thicker.
Yeah, I bugged them as soon as they started selling foam.
Yeah, with foam, like you get what you pay for is really what it comes down to.
And if you still want to use floor mats, if you're in the U.S., Lowe's Home Improvement, their supplier for floor mats, it's really good stuff. Usually hardly have any voids in it. It's really solid, and it's a little thicker. It's closer to the 1/2 inch than most of the others. So when you take the texture off the back, you actually still have a pretty good thickness to it too. So those are what I usually use. They're more, it's like $20 a pack, but it's totally worth it.
You get what you pay for.
Because you don't have to fill stuff in.
Nope. So. Good luck with your foam large. All right, one of our regulars here, Fearless Facade. In fact, I'm pretty sure Fearless Facade has asked a question on every single episode of this show.
He's been on every one that I've watched. He's been there.
I have a vacuum form based question. When vacuum forming, do you you occasionally get those nasty folds and creases in the plastic? Do you have any tips on reducing that from happening? I was vacuum forming a bunch of stuff with my buddy Mario. You know Mario and Alex?
Oh, yeah. I've actually vacuum formed with Mario as well.
Yes, we have. Vacuum forming with Mario.
Yes.
They have, the reason why is Mario built a giant, really
vacuum former.
So we were vacuum forming a visor for my buddy Danquish, and it's this Snake Eyes visor. And it's tall. We did it facing upward, if that makes sense. And so it's pretty tall, and the corners were catching those creases. Like yeah. So we did several pulls trying to get it
minimize the creasing.
We ended up, a lot of that has to do with how you design your vacuum forming buck. Yeah. So if it is like if I vacuum form this can, it's going to pull along these vertical surfaces a lot. Versus like a dome shaped thing, like a mask that's kind of rounded out a bit. It's not going to pull creases because it doesn't have that vertical surface to climb. So it's a lot of it has to do with how you design your vacuum forming buck. And then also like we did really goofy stuff. Like while the plastic was hot with gloves on, we would pull the plastic down over the buck and then pinch and pull the plastic up so it didn't pull from
to try to stress relief some of the edges and stuff. Did it work?
Kind of a little bit. Yeah. What I should have done, do I have it? Let me just entertain everyone. I'll grab the thing. Here it is.
Hey everybody.
So this is the vacuum forming buck, right? And it's very like the sides aren't that bad, but these are vertical. I should have made the form rounded out on either side, like so. And that all gets trimmed off anyway.
Oh, so it has a gradual.
So it has a gradual slope to go down.
That makes sense.
It was getting these creases like right down this corner here. So the design of your buck is going to have the biggest impact there. Yeah, but keep trying lots of stuff. I'm glad to see you doing some vacuum forming. That's fantastic.
Have you ever vacuum formed EVA?
I think I tried something when I made my little one.
Yeah.
But you can totally do it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I've seen it done. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, I don't have a reason to do it, but
I saw. Actually, I think Jesse Loggers was helping Ryan Wells with the Baymax costume, and they did the Baymax helmet that way.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah. I was like, wow, you can do everything with EVA.
Yes, you can. Thank you, Fearless Facade. Okay. Got about 15 minutes here. Going to chew through what we can. This one comes from Echo. What is the best way to round off EVA for blasters and sword hilts? Not sure what you mean by round off. Maybe like make it not square, like to sculpt it, I would say. Yeah, sculpting your EVA foam. So if you have a handle, like a gun handle, good example.
Oh, like knocking down the edges.
Like this sculpted, this sculpted area right here, or this rounded area right there. And you can tell that's the fuzziest part of this.
Yeah.
Is right there.
Yeah. It's also the hardest part to paint too.
It is, yeah. For that, I just use my my Dremel with a sanding drum on it for a lot of that.
Yeah, I've used everything from Dremel to my router table, which actually cuts EVA very well.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet it does. Yeah. I don't have a router table.
It makes really nice clean edges.
I have a hand router or a trim router down there.
Yeah.
But I haven't put that through a piece of EVA yet. But I bet that works nice.
It just throws crap everywhere though. It does. And it's just like
we have the CNC router there. This thing though, can't remember what the RPM on that was. They want to say like 20,000, but that seems low or fast. Because this guy, We're just gonna. It's tool time, everybody.
Oh yeah, little
Bill the Tool Man Duran. What's the RPM on this sucker? It's terrifying, whatever it is.
Yeah, routers are. So that one's a horse and a half, right?
It's 10,000 to 30,000.
Yeah. So the one on my router table is a 3-horse.
Yeah. It's a monster.
I think it does like 50,000 or something. It's variable though, so I have to crank it. I have to crank it right now. But you fire the thing up, though, it's like.
You can put one of these in that. In the X card.
I don't doubt that.
Yes, you can.
That's pretty cool.
There, it's router time with Bill and Eric. Echo also says, any tips for adding battle damage to armor pieces? I like using the Dremel, the grinding bit, like a cylindrical grinding bit. I use the edge of it. So like if this is the grinding bit, like this sort of angle here, I use that to like carve into stuff to leave it a nice trench, like it's been gouged with a sword or something.
Yeah.
In foam, at least, I'll do that.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest way to do it.
Some people like using a hot knife, like a hot hobby knife.
Yeah, I've never really used a hot knife.
No, everyone's got their favorite.
Yeah.
So there you go. The answer is do everything with a rotary tool. Thank you, Echo. All right. Dennis Graybeard says, is there a liquid substance that could be poured over a costume skeleton to make a rubber-like finish but remain flexible to move but not rip? It sounds to me like he just described latex rubber.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, I have mine right here.
Or ballistics gel.
Ballistic gel will melt now.
Oh, that's right. It will.
10%,
yeah, that's right. That's right. I forgot it's 10%.
All right. So this was 5 gallons of poly latex 60. This is my favorite latex here. And it smells terrible, so I'm not going to open it. That's my favorite for coating like foam armor, but you can coat just about anything with it. You can make molds out of that stuff. Yeah, it doesn't play well with silicone. So I think especially platinum cure silicone. You shouldn't have latex gloves in your shop. You should use nitrile gloves. Especially if you're making molds, because latex will cause platinum silicone to not cure. So keep that in mind.
I didn't know that.
That stays away over here. My rubber, my silicone's way over there.
Gotcha.
And never shall the two meet.
They are their own subject.
Yes, they are. But latex is great for coating your rubber or coating your costumes. It's very, very flexible. It's stretchy. This stuff comes kind of like a putty or like a pudding consistency. So I thin it with water. We got just a couple jugs down there of distilled water.
So where did you get that at?
The rubber?
Yeah.
Polytech makes it. We'll have a link in the show notes.
Order straight from their website.
Yeah, look up Poly Latex 60. That's the stuff I use. It's pre-vulcanized latex. And it's great. You don't have to get 5 gallons of it. You can get a much smaller container. Actually, I split that with Mario.
Oh, gotcha.
We went on it together and got a bunch of it.
Oh, that's right, because he was using it on the Farah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but that's a lot of latex. even though I only had half of it. It's great. You can just take it straight out of the jar and brush it on stuff. I like to thin it, especially because I like to spray it. But yeah, just thin it with water.
Is it self-leveling at all?
No, not really.
No. So if you brush it, it'll leave brush marks.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. That's why I like to spray it.
That's okay. That's what I was wondering.
Yep. You can tint it with acrylic paints.
Yeah.
This stuff comes out white, but it dries transparent. So whatever color you put in there, it'll stay true to that color. It won't be like when you mix pigment in with Smooth Cast 300.
Yeah.
Your blue is now baby blue, or your red is now pink.
Yeah, pink.
So yeah, latex, Mr. Dennis Graybeard. Go try out some latex. It's wonderful stuff. Next one comes from Ray from Cyborg. What glue do you fellas use to attach 2 pieces of resin or plastic together? You got a favorite glue?
Resin and plastic? Yeah. I usually just use epoxy.
Mm-hmm. Like a 5-minute epoxy?
Yeah.
I use that for a lot of stuff. I use super glue for a lot of things. This is one of my favorite websites. I mention this like every couple of weeks, but ThisToThat.com. So you could say plastic to plastic and hit Let's Glue. And it recommends either a PVC adhesive if you're using PVC plastic,
Yep.
goop, there's your 5-minute epoxy, or regular epoxy. For urethane resin kits, super glue works really well for it. Yep. That's what my buddy Xander uses. In fact, he'll fill bubbles in the resin with super glue. Yeah, mix it with some baby powder so it's kind of like a putty.
Yeah.
And then
nice. Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's really good. It's fast. You can hit it with the accelerant.
It's fast.
It cures right away, and then you can sand it. You don't have to wait for mix up a batch of Bondo or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or use epoxy sculpt or something. I use that sometimes for filling.
Yep, that's a really good one too.
But it you have to dry overnight.
Yeah. So. So and ThisToThat.com, just everyone should have that bookmarked. It's a fantastic website. They provide links straight to all the products.
I think it was made in like 1985.
I know, right? But it's brilliant.
Maybe not 85.
No.
There was no internet then.
It is a little vague, so like it doesn't say different types of plastic. Yeah. So you're going to have your mileage will vary depending on the plastic you're using. For example, Delrin plastic doesn't like to stick to anything. So your mileage may vary. Most importantly, whatever you're going to glue, sand it.
So somebody said that they're going to do a Punish Props from Punk, a Punish Props bingo card for the next time.
That's a perfect idea. Do it.
I'll join in.
Yes, do it. Definitely. All right. That was Ray from Cyborg. Next one comes from Atomic Props and Cosplay. When making foam weapons, do you ever put a solid core in it to make it more rigid? And if so, what would you recommend using? So some of those bigger, like the big gun that you made with the Nova gun.
Yeah.
Did you put anything in that?
No.
So it's just a big old piece of insulation foam.
Yes and no.
Okay.
that one is a little unique because I was really running out of time to build it, and I had to come up with a really quick way to make it finishable, and I actually skinned it with Sintra.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good idea.
Yeah, and it turned out great, and it only worked really well with that one because it was so angular.
Did you use like pretty? It was a pretty thin Sintra.
And it's like 1/8 inch.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, and it made an amazing surface because.
Oh yeah, you can.
And then that gun I didn't even paint. I actually used one of Harrison's methods from his book, which is the charcoal. Have you ever done that?
Which one?
You just rub.
Oh yeah, you like base coat it and then rub charcoal. I have a bunch of it.
Yeah, I primed it and because I didn't have time to even wait for paint to dry.
Right.
So I finished that with pencil lead.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And it looks awesome.
That's a wonderful technique.
Too. Yeah, and it has a very unique look to it too. It doesn't look like paint. It looks more like metal. So
yeah,
it's really cool. So that one's a little different, but like the large sword, the Helix sword I made, that doesn't have anything.
No, that's probably why it broke.
Well, it didn't break. It didn't break in half. It just.
But you put a lot of
that has like 4
layers
of Epsilon on it.
Yeah, so there's got a hard shell on the outside of it.
Yeah, so it's like an exterior shell instead of an interior
exoskeleton.
Yeah.
This guy right here has in the barrel is a PVC pipe, 2 of them. This one's only about 1 inch long. This one here runs all the way through. So that's the same pipe there, all the way through there. And then it goes all the way to the stock.
Yeah.
It's just hidden below layers of foam in there. So this has a piece of PVC pipe running the length of it. And that keeps it nice and rigid. It's fairly lightweight. And it also serves as an aesthetic decision there with the barrel. So that worked out.
Yeah, generally speaking, it's a good idea to use some type of structure inside.
Yeah, PVC pipe is cheap and easy, but you could use a tube made out of carbon fiber if you want to spend the money on it. Fiberglass works too. Basically any tube that's kind of lightweight and rigid enough. I would recommend against using wooden dowel because then if it breaks, it will shatter in splinters, which is bad news. The PVC pipe is never going to shatter, so we're good. There we go. Let's see, Atomic Props and Cosplay. He's working on a sword made out of EVA foam. He wants to take some of the flex out of it. Yeah, some sort of shaft in there. We'll do you a good a good bit of rigidity. All right. Weirdo Effects has a paragraph for me. Let's dig through this one. I'm going to be cold casting an iron companion mask in a week from Destiny. I'm trying to decide if I should attempt an open face, 1-part glove mold with a 2-part mother mold, or take the safe route and make it a 2-part mold. It's hard to tell without seeing it. This is the Destiny companion mask. So I'll see if I can grab a quick iron companion mask from Destiny. Let me look that up real quick. But yeah, it depends on, there are a lot of different factors when it comes to deciding what type of mask or helmet or mold to make. There we go. One of these guys, I don't know. I'm getting a bunch of different ones here. I would say if it is if it's a full helmet all the way around, you don't necessarily have to make a 2-part mold. You could do a brush on mold and then cut a seam after the fact, like in the back where it's easy to clean up. So you don't necessarily have to make a 2-part mold. But I will say, you're right, it is safer to just make a 2-part mold. But I would say for a mask, you're probably okay with a 1-part mold. That's what I'm thinking. The third option would be to make 2 molds of the top and bottom halves of the helmet with no relief cuts. Yeah, you can make 2 molds, cast the 2 pieces, and glue them together. But I'm willing to bet you could get away with a 1-part mold. That's what I think. But again, you just kind of have to try it and see what happens, because that's kind of how mold making works. You got any mold making plan?
I have the not Tariel, but the
you did Sif's sword, you did Toriel daggers. Those were both 2-part molds.
It's the whole Lord of the Rings theme. Thranduil's sword that you did the laser cutting for me.
Mold that.
I really want to mold that.
Be a really simple mold.
I know.
It's just a straight.
Just haven't taken the time to do it because I have like people every week asking me if I have it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my next one, but I don't know when I'm going to have the time to do it.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Probably after Emerald City.
With handheld props like that, or like this guy right here, it's a pretty easy bet. We probably could have got away with a 1-part mold on this, but we did a 2-part mold on it. But for masks and stuff and helmets, like
but I've never molded a mask or a helmet, so
yeah. So Will did that Star-Lord helmet.
Yeah.
And the helmet part itself, because it had a bunch of separate pieces that he molded separately.
Yeah.
The helmet part he did with a 1-part brush on mold, and then cut a seam on it. Yeah. So that's a very common way to solve that problem. So I'm willing to bet that it would work for you. But I claim no responsibility if you destroy a whole bunch of expensive silicone.
That's always just a bad feeling. Yeah. Going into it, it's just like, I really hope this works.
We got one more question here from Brandon. He says, I'm planning on making a Vex Minotaur. Wow. Was wondering if you have any tips on what I could do, or that's it, just any tips. Start early.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Give yourself a lot of time.
Yeah. It's like if you go into Emerald City Comic-Con in April, then you probably should have started like 3 months ago.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a really big, ambitious project. Yeah, you haven't done any. I haven't done any really big, anything that really changes the size of me or my
yeah, I've never done anything oversized. So, yeah.
But there are a lot of problems.
I mean, costume wise,
right.
So
there are a lot of problems that come with building a big costume like that other people have solved.
Yeah.
So go look and see how people have done.
Specifically, the Warhammer guys.
Yes,
those guys seem to really have the whole oversized costume thing worked out pretty well.
Yeah,
so.
Actually, look up Gary.
Yeah, Gary Sterley.
Go look up Gary Sterley Studios on Facebook. He's got a somewhere on his page. He's got in his photo albums. He has a whole breakdown of how he did his Warhammer costume. Yep. Go see how he did that. It's going to help you out a whole bunch.
Absolutely.
All right, there you go, Brandon. Good luck with your giant costume, you crazy person. Crazy in a good way, though. Crazy in a, I can't believe you're doing
torn.
that.
Someday I'd like to do a big one, but
yeah.
But my problem is what do you do with it after you're done with it? You know, it's like they take up so much room.
Yeah. And
it's like I don't want to spend like 6 months on something and then wear it to a couple cons and then trash it.
Right.
You know, but I don't have a place to store something like that. So.
Yeah. All right, cool, everybody. That is it for the questions. Thank you guys so much. You guys always bring such wonderful questions for the show. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Eric, for hanging out, coming down.
Always a pleasure to come down and hang out
the traffic,
and answer some questions.
Of course, if you guys haven't already, go on over to Coregeek Cosplay and Creations on Facebook or coregeek.net. So you can see what Eric's been up to lately, including a giveaway for these awesome Toriel daggers. So head on over there. Oh, look, there's a link for it right there. coregeek.net/giveaway. Go over there, give his page a like, and go enter the giveaway. And that's it. Thanks, chat. Thank you, Eric.
Thanks for having me come down. And
we'll see everyone again next week. And go follow our Twitter. Not our Twitter. Twitch. Twitch.com/punishedprops.
The other T word.
We'll be streaming on Tuesday, probably at noon Pacific time. Go check us out. And until then, we'll see you guys next week.
Goodbye.
Bye. The awkward, I forgot where to push the button. There it is. Yay!